Properly. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I think in order to understand the importance of Part 3 of this Act, this bill, I actually want to get members of the public just to rewind a bit back to Budget 2012, because I think that will help them to understand the importance of Part 3 of this bill. Because remember budget time 2012, where unemployment soaring, economy flatlining, trouble everywhere in New Zealand, families under huge pressure and stress. What was the big idea that this government rolled out? Taxing paper boys and paper girls up and down the country. That was the big fix and the big idea they had back in Budget 2012. That was going to deliver the brighter future, according to John Key. And people, I'm sure, when they saw the government promise them a brighter future, I'm sure the parents of these paper boys and paper girls never imagined in their wildest dreams that what this government was up to was it was going to tax their children who are doing jobs after school, trying to get just a little bit of pocket money for themselves. I don't think that any parent in this country believed that that was what John Key meant when he promised them a brighter future. But here it is in Section 106 of this bill that we're debating here this evening. This is the part of the bill that actually brings the big idea from this government in. It actually taxes paper boys and paper girls and all of the, our adolescent children who do a bit of work here and there to get a bit of pocket money. And apparently, Section 106 is the part that brings this in, the big idea from National that was going to change the direction and deliver this brighter future that they promised at the last election. And of course, what we know is that it's a complete and utter joke, that even though this will be passed into law, this is not going to deliver a brighter future, Section 106 of Part 3, Mr. Chair, because that is just tinkering around the edges. And that's what the budget was known for. It was known for Section 106 of this bill, tinkering around the edges, trying to imagine that we'd get ourselves somehow a brighter future by taxing adolescents who are doing a bit of work for a bit of extra pocket money going into their families. And so that's what Section 106 is about. But I think I can't let the irony of today's debate go by, or tonight's debate go by, without understanding the irony of debating part by part what the obligations are of ordinary New Zealanders to make sure that when they sign documents that they are actually making honest declarations and spelling out in this part of this bill what they are doing and what they are required to do in order to make sure that they are putting forward information on taxation issues in the appropriate manner. How ironic that we are debating the detail of what ordinary New Zealanders are required to do and the implications of when they put their signature to documents, what that actually means, because that is what's covered in Part 3. How ironic, on the same day that the Prime Minister seems to have a completely different standard for his ministers. He seems to believe that a signature from someone who is now a minister in his government can be put on a document and that person can't be held to account for it. And yet here we are in Part 3 of this bill, spelling out all the measures by which ordinary New Zealanders are going to be held to account for signatures that they put to documents with regard to their taxation income. And I thought that actually Section 130 was going to be the one that would actually ensure that the John Banks fiasco would be uncovered and discovered, because it's called knowledge offences. And I thought that was going to be the part of this bill that was going to make the Prime Minister see sense over his ducking and diving over John Banks's affairs today. But no, it seems that it's not about actual knowledge offences over that type of return that John Banks has signed his name to. It's actually about employers' superannuation contributions. And what it does is it just makes it a bit more explicit that the knowledge offences under the taxation bill.
Chris Hipkins.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. Very happy to take a call on Part 3 of the Taxation Annual Rates Returns Filing